The world actually has a hidden operating system. It has this playbook, a set of invisible rules that, honestly, most adults will never really take the time to explain to you. But you're here, and you're curious. So today, in this explainer, I'm going to share some of those secrets with you. Right now, while everyone else is distracted by everyday news, there's a giant climate monster quietly charging up its batteries out in the Pacific Ocean. It's called El Niño. And this isn't just about the weather getting a little hotter. It's actually the start of a massive, hidden chain reaction.
Now, you might be wondering, why should I care about some weather anomaly thousands of miles away? Like, what does that actually have to do with my pocket money? Well, that is exactly the right question to ask. I want you to really see this reality. This isn't just a boring weather report. This is a direct target on your wallet. This invisible current literally dictates the price of your favorite convenience store snacks, your bubble tea, and ultimately, your future.
Okay, let's dive into this. To understand this hidden operating system, we kind of need to simplify the science just a bit. Imagine the Pacific Ocean is this perfectly designed global superwater park. Normally, there are these giant invisible fans, scientists call them trade winds, that blow constantly. And they keep everything perfectly balanced, right? Pushing all the warm, sun-heated water over to the west and keeping the east nice and cool. It is basically the Earth's perfect air conditioning system. But El Niño, well, that's what happens when those invisible fans just decide to slack off and fail.
And when those winds slack off during El Niño, all that warm water that was pushed away, it suddenly crashes right back into the central and eastern Pacific. The Earth's air conditioning system completely breaks down. It just goes haywire. Places that usually get gentle rain suddenly turn into dry, cracked deserts, sparking massive wildfires. Meanwhile, places that are normally dry get slammed with superstorms and massive floods. The whole world kind of flips upside down.
You see, our modern world is incredibly interconnected. So when the weather sneezes, the global economy catches a severe cold. It's the butterfly effect, really, laid out in 3 simple steps. First, that extreme weather directly hits the farms. Second, because of droughts in places like Southeast Asia and floods down in South America, the yields for raw materials, things like sugar, the cocoa for your chocolate, the wheat for bread, and coffee beans, they absolutely plunge. And step 3, your wallet bleeds. That global shortage cascades all the way down to the local store where you buy your everyday snacks.
And that brings us to a really crucial adult concept, green inflation, or sometimes it's called climateflation. This is the surge in everyday consumer prices driven directly by these climate-induced shortages. So when you go to buy a bubble tea and you notice the price went up, or maybe the cup just got slightly smaller, it's not just the shop owner being greedy. It's green inflation. It is the direct result of a farm on the other side of the world getting wiped out by El Niño.
All right, let's look at Section 1, the school fair fried chicken stand, supply and demand.
To really master this hidden operating system, let's step away from the global map for a second. Let's walk through the math of a highly relatable micro example, your school fair. Under normal conditions, let's say the chicken stand has 500 pieces of fried chicken. That's the supply. And there are 500 hungry students. That's the demand. The price is a reasonable $60. Everyone is happy. This is what we call market equilibrium. But now, imagine an El Niño hits that chicken farm. The chickens get sick from the heat. Suddenly, the stand only has 50 pieces of chicken. But those 500 students, they're still just as hungry. The demand hasn't changed at all, but the supply plummeted. What happens? Well, people start outbidding each other. The price rockets up to $150 a piece. That massive drop in supply paired with constant demand forces prices into a crazy upward spiral. And my friend, that is exactly what is happening to the global food supply.
Moving on to Part 2, the coffee shop at the end of the world. So now that you understand the basic mechanics, let's zoom out again. Imagine stepping into a dimly lit coffee shop at the end of the world. Sitting around a table are the global superpowers, and they are fiercely calculating their next moves in the face of this climate monster. Representing the American perspective, we have the golden retriever avatar here. Aggressive, loud, wanting to take charge. In the face of a crisis, this persona basically slams their coffee cup on the table and declares that they will control the global inflation rhythm. They rely on their financial dominance in the futures markets, operating on the belief that, no matter what the weather does, they write the rules of the game.
Then, sitting quietly in the shadows, we have China strategy, represented here as the Tibetan Mastiff. The approach here is entirely different. It's a shadowy, long-term strategy. While others are arguing over market rules, this persona is patiently, quietly stockpiling agricultural resources, buying up farmlands in places like Africa and South America. They are hoarding strategic reserves, perfectly content to just wait out the global drought until the competition completely runs out of supplies.
Next, we have Japan's perspective, the Shiba Inu. Stoic, highly disciplined, and perfectly precise. They aren't interested in arguing or hoarding. Their defense relies on flawless technological execution. They look at the climate shortage and respond by launching automated, drought-resistant greenhouses and precision weather tracking systems. Their logic is all about survival through absolute efficiency, minimizing loss through advanced technology.
And finally, sitting right in the middle of it all, drinking a warm bubble tea, is Taiwan, the mixed breed. This perspective is empathetic and highly observant. They see the aggressive control, the deep hoarding, the strict efficiency, and they recognize the incredible threat this economic storm poses to smaller nations. Their strategy isn't about global dominance, it's about self-preservation through incredible agility, quietly adjusting their tech and agricultural chips to survive the crossfire without getting swallowed up by the infighting of the giants.
So, how do you actually use this insider knowledge? Honestly, I am incredibly proud of you for looking at the world with this level of critical thinking. While everyone else is distracted, you are looking at the matrix. So here is your actionable defense playbook. First, avoid the refined poverty trap. When raw material costs surge, your impulse buys, those fancy desserts and extra bubble teas, they will drain you. Cut them. Second, start precision anti-inflation budgeting right now. Third, build an Earth turbulence watch list. When you go to the store, look closely. Are the packages getting smaller while the price stays exactly the same? That's shrinkflation in action. And finally, for your long-term future, start observing the survival logic of anti-inflation stocks. Like, why look at large food monopolies? Because when raw materials skyrocket, those monopolies have the pricing power to pass those costs directly onto the consumer. They survive. And why look at clean energy or water resource stocks? Because no matter how bad the economy or the weather gets, human beings can never stop consuming power and water. Their demand is absolute.
I want to leave you with a provocative question. Tomorrow, when you walk into the store to buy a simple snack, what will you see? Will you just be a passive consumer looking at a price tag? Or will you treat that supermarket as your own personal economic laboratory? Deeply aware of the Pacific Ocean currents, the supply and demand chains, and the strategic maneuvers of the world's superpowers operating right behind that shelf. Keep that curiosity alive, my smart friend. Stay sharp, plant your roots deep, and never, ever stop observing the world's hidden operating system. I'll catch you in the next explainer.